start, let's just have another word of prayer. Dear Lord Jesus, I pray that the message that comes out of my mouth is something that you want someone sitting in these pews to hear, Lord. And I pray that the message doesn't fall on deaf ears, and also that hearts aren't hardened when they do hear it. It's not something people often like hearing about, Lord. But I pray that this talk is a bit different and a bit more entertaining, and I pray that we can just be edified by it. Please bring your presence here with us, Lord. I pray this in your name. Amen. Okay, the title of the talk is Boot Camp, Journeys and Testimonies. And that's very, very vague. But I've done that for a reason, because I don't want you to know exactly what I'm talking about just yet. So we will start with a visualization exercise. You're welcome to close your eyes if it makes it easier to picture. I want you to imagine the most exquisite temple, a temple that took many years to construct, one that lots of thought, time, and effort went into. The inside of this temple is impeccable. Nothing is broken or out of place. Its walls are decked with the very best there is to offer. Gold trimmings and precious stones encrust every nook and cranny. Only the best materials have been used. Everything runs smoothly in this temple because of the preparation and hard work that has gone into it. I'm not sure if you can read what it says there, but if you'd like to turn, it's in 1 Corinthians 6, verse 19. 1 Corinthians 6 verse 19 says, "Do you not know that your bodies are the temple of the Holy Spirit, who is in you, whom you have received from God? You are not your own." This one also appears a bit small to read, but if you would like to turn, it's in Daniel 1, and the verses are 8, 12, and 15. But Daniel resolved not to defile himself with the royal food and wine, and he asked the chief official for permission not to defile himself this way. "Please, test your servants for 10 days. Give us nothing but vegetables to eat and water to drink." At the end of the 10 days, they looked healthier and better nourished than any of the young men who ate the royal food. In every matter of wisdom and understanding which the king questioned them, he found them 10 times better than all the magicians and enchanters in his whole kingdom. Okay, so today's Sabbath School talk is brought to you by the Health Ministries Department. Now I can just imagine some of you rolling your eyeballs back already, but before you check out, let me explain that this talk is going to be a little bit different. Even as someone who takes health quite seriously, I also do seem to tire of the same old health talks. Today's talk is not a doom and gloom message about how you will die of heart disease if you don't follow a certain set of rules. It's also not a talk reminding you about all the bad decisions you've made or have been making lately. It's also not a talk that dives into the scientific aspect of living a healthier lifestyle. Instead, this talk is more of a testimony service for those who have tried both worlds and have decided that the better path to take is the one that improves the standard of living. The internet is riddled with great stories of how people use plant-based diets and exercise to turn their lives around. And I love seeing that. I Google often. I love looking at the pictures and comparing their before and after photos. But to me, it just doesn't seem tangible. I don't know those people. So today I'm offering you real-life testimonies from people that are sitting next to us in the pews. This is Chantal. I'm sure many of you have heard her testimony before. And for those of you who haven't heard it, this is a condensed version. And for those of you who have, it's always a good reminder. This is what Chantal had to say. "The vegan lifestyle changed my life." And that's with an exclamation mark. As you know, Chantal suffered with lupus and by now should have been dead or bedridden with pain, but is currently an active person. She was hospitalized every 2 months for 3 years. She should not have had children, but she now has 2. She went from drinking 15 to 18 pills a day to drinking none. She sometimes had to take 20 milligrams of cortisone daily, but now she doesn't have to. She also suffered with severe depression, which had to be treated by antidepressants. She has managed to leave this past behind her by managing her diet. This is Jay, Cliff, and Jess, the Asplings. All three live quite an active lifestyle, and amongst these three Asplings, the following has been noticed on a vegan diet. It's in no particular order, it's just a combined list of experiences. They've noticed weight loss, a loss of surrounding body fat, which lends to more leaner physique, maintenance of a healthy weight, an all-round feel-good feeling, waking up feeling lighter and less sluggish, a clearer mind, no more sinus problems or mucus buildup, no more stomach problems, faster hair and nail growth, and an overall boost of energy. This is Steph. And although Steph doesn't sit with us in the pews that often, as she's moved away, I'm still sure many of you recognize her face. Steph has been a vegetarian for about 10 years. Because she's eaten healthily for the past 10 years, she says it's harder to identify any drastic changes. It's also hard to remember how you felt 10 years ago, but these are the small differences that she did notice. She recovers a lot faster when she gets sick, and her sickness is never as severe as it was before. She noticed that she has become a lot more compassionate towards animals, and she has a better understanding of how Adam and Eve must have felt when they sacrificed their first animal. She has also noticed that she has a bit more energy. She says she does have to admit, though, that when she visits family, she has on occasion eaten dairy, which has caused her to feel very weighed down and heavy, and it has also noticed that she struggles with sinus after doing this. This is Janae. I know you can't maybe recognize her with the glasses and the helmet, but she is, as you look at the picture on the left-hand side, Janae is relatively new to the idea of healthy eating, but has always been an active person. She's studying architecture and has just completed her first half Ironman. These are the marked differences that she has experienced in her experimenting. She has found that she has less of a craving for junk food since she started eating healthily. She has an overall energy boost, and from a sporting perspective, she has noticed that she is stronger and more energetic, and she recovers much faster. She has also noticed an improvement in her memory. This is Christopher, otherwise known as Tapa, my husband. Tapa has always told me, "Stop trying to convert me because I'm going to die eating my chicken." I promise you, he would say that to me, so I did. I left him. After a few years of trying, you kind of have had enough, so you just let him eat his chicken. Years later, he started doing his own research, and he actually turned vegan by himself. And when he first told me, I laughed at him. I thought, oh, good, I'm going to give this about 2 weeks. And I gave it 2 weeks, and he had turned vegetarian at that point. So I gave it 2 weeks, and 2 weeks later, he came to me and said, I want to become a vegan. I must say I was quite shocked, but he has always been an active person, but I personally feel that he's currently more active than he's ever been. And he has run 3 marathons, and all 3 were as a vegan, and he ran his first Comrades Marathon last year, which he did as a vegan as well. Here are some of the experiences of living a healthy lifestyle that he's noticed. He has improved brain function. He used to struggle to read quite a lot. As many of you know, he wasn't very good with reading and learning, but now he's able to learn and read much better, and he has actually completed quite a few books. He's actually overtaking me, yeah? His body has found its groove, so to speak, and he says it's settled where it belongs. He has peace and comfort knowing that he is feeding his body the correct fuel. He has developed a strong immune system, and when he gets sick, it's not as bad, and he also gets sick a lot less often than what he used to. One thing he told me to add to the list this morning was that he has noticed that he has a much fuller hair growth. I'm sure that some people need that as well. Okay, this is me. Don't let my size deceive you. I love food. I've been relatively active, and these are the differences I've experienced on a plant-based diet. Before I dive into that, let me ask you a question, and please, this is an interactive thing, and you're welcome to shout out the answer if you know it. So I'm going to ask you, what is one of the first ingredients they used to make dynamite? Does anyone know? I'll give you a clue. It's something edible. Okay, let me enlighten you. It's peanuts. This is a fact that I did know, but it's one of those things you sort of suppress because it's of no use. Where would I ever need to know that peanuts, are an ingredient in dynamite? So this brings me to my first experience, and let me tell you, it's definitely of use to you when you're trying to roast peanuts in a pot. So every now and then I still do have these dramatic cooking experiences, but overall, my cooking has improved drastically and I no longer make charcoal in the microwave. When food is simple, it's simple to prepare, and that's just the way that I like it. I have suffered severely over the years with IBS, and I'm finally managing to sort that out with my diet. I've had a drastic improvement in my fitness, and with minimal effort, I've run 3 half marathons without any adequate training, or barely any training, let me be honest. I no longer suffer with sinus, and my cholesterol levels have dropped from a high 5.6 to around a 4. This is quite an important one to note because most people don't think that people who are active or are more leaner in physique tend to have high cholesterol, but it really does affect everybody. And even though I was active, when I wasn't a vegan, my cholesterol was really high. So they said if it went any higher, I would, be red flagged on my medical aid, on my vitality. That wouldn't be a good thing because, I like gathering my points for smoothies. My next experience was the post-wedding weight gain. I know it doesn't seem likely, but I did manage to pick up about 6 or 7 kilograms since I got married, after having a constant weight for many years before that. I'm glad to say that I have lost most of those kilograms by eating abundantly, but by eating the correct food. So it definitely wasn't restrictive. I don't think I would have lost it if I had to restrict my calories. My immune system is also functioning a lot better, and I hardly get sick anymore. And when I do recover from it much quicker. My resting heart rate has also been brought down way below the threshold for my age. Even though I'm not active every single day, my heart rate is really low, which is very good. Another thing that I have noticed is also hair growth, along with my husband's hair growth. My hair is a lot more fuller as well, and definitely a lot healthier looking. Okay, so my next experience is one relating to people. My favorite question, but what do vegans eat? I'm not sure if you can read that. It says, really? No meat or eggs or cheese? My goodness, what do you eat? And as you can see, she's got a full trolley with fruit and veg and all of that. So I could stand here and give you a long list of things that I do eat, but it's easy to just give you a list of things that I don't. Animals and animal products. I'm a visual person, so instead of trying to stand here and explain, I'll just show you with what should have been a handful of photos until my husband got stuck into my slideshow. So I'm going to show you a range of photos, just showing you the variety of food that we consume as vegans. Some of these photos do include meals at a restaurant, because that's often what people complain about, is that they can't go out and eat, one of the many excuses that we have all used before. This is something called a Buddha bowl. I'm not sure why it's called a Buddha bowl. It's just a bowl of food, so don't think that I am on some strange path. But I saw it on the internet, and I thought I would create it. It's basically a bowl of food that hasn't been mixed, in my opinion. So in this particular bowl, we've got our chopped up tomatoes, some avo, some orange sweet potatoes, some couscous, some baby spinach, some air-fried chickpeas, and I think it's sliced carrots, or julienne carrots, or whatever. And then you just mash that up and eat that. This was at a restaurant, a vegan pizza. If you thought that you can't enjoy a nice vegan pizza, you don't have to kiss goodbye to some of the foods that you enjoy. I'm not sure if you can see that, it's quite dark, but that is a bobotie, a vegan lentil bobotie, one of my favorites. This is also eating out. This is something called a smoothie bowl, which is essentially a smoothie in a bowl. I think people are getting creative these days. So they just put a smoothie in a bowl, and it's topped with like fruit and some coconut and things like that. Home-baked banana bread. Okay, these ones are a bit small, but the first picture is like a salad. We love salads now. We never used to eat a lot of salads, but now we do because we throw on some dry roasted nuts and some air-fried chickpeas, sprouts. The middle one is like your vegan version of rijsvlees and aardappels. It's like rice, nie vlees, and some aardappels at the bottom there. The next one is also a salad. That is a salad that has barely any lettuce in. It's basically a bean salad with some buckwheat and some broccoli. So you can get quite creative. I mean, salads, it's never ending. This is breakfast, one of Tapa's favorite breakfasts. It's fried mushrooms in olive oil and some fried tomatoes, some tofu, and some air-fried potato wedges, some toast. This is a tomato soup. Now, the reason why I added this, you can't really see so well, the soup, but you see that slice of bread with that delicious-looking blob of butter. That's vegan butter, homemade vegan butter. And Tapa has been someone who ate a lot of butter, and nothing comes close to his buttero. This one does compare in his opinion. He says it's up there with the buttero that he used to eat. Here's some more pictures, some homemade wraps or homemade tortillas with some vegan mayo and some made little oat patties to put inside. And then in the middle is a home-baked carrot cake, vegan of course. Some treats, just some date balls. I think it was date and oat balls. This one is a lentil loaf and salad with some seeds on top. We love putting seeds and nuts in our salad. It really adds a delicious flavor. At the back is a lentil loaf, almost like a meatloaf, but in plant-based version. Some lentil soup. Here's some breakfasts. In the first picture, we've got some vegan banana and ice cream. And in the second picture, we've got the overnight oats. And in the third picture, we've got some ordinary oats, just topped with some slaps, some seeds and nuts, and some blueberries. These are homemade burger patties made with oats. More breakfast ideas, smoothies. In that middle picture, one of Tapa's all-time favorite breakfast meals, which is soya yogurt with homemade granola. When we were putting the slide together, he actually asked me to make some granola. I said it's like 8 o'clock at night. I'm definitely not making granola now. And then that third picture is homemade vegan crumpets with banana and oats, believe it or not. I see Jonathan's showing us his thumbs there at the back. Definitely one of his favorites, I would assume. Some pancakes. This is just a reminder to show you, you don't have to get rid of the food that you're used to, that you normally would eat. You can still get by eating plant-based food and still enjoying it. I mean, these don't taste terrible. They actually taste exactly the same as normal pancakes. These are some homemade vegan burgers, some chickpea stew on some basmati rice, homemade banana muffins. This is a salad sandwich, so you can see the tomato and the lettuce, and then this slice of cheese that you see. It is cheese, but it's not dairy cheese. It's a vegan alternative. We don't eat it all the time, but every now and then as a treat, it is quite nice to have. So it tastes quite similar to cheese. But I mean, you could get by without it. I just make my own cheese from nuts now, make it more like a cheese spread, so you don't even need to buy that sort of thing. Some vegan waffles, made from bananas and oats, believe it or not. This is also eating out. This is called dessert sushi. That red stuff that you see is strawberries, and then the green is obviously avo, and it's drizzled with a sweet sauce. Very good. Some rooibos cappuccinos with almond milk, so you can still go out for coffee with your friends and not have to miss out or sit there drinking a glass of water with a slice of lemon. Although that is good for you, I'm not bashing that, but you can still have nice stuff to drink that is still relatively healthy. Some homemade mushroom pies with whole wheat pastry. This is also eating out at an Indian restaurant, just another example that you can eat out. There is quite a variety, and in our town especially, people are definitely becoming more aware of the plant-based lifestyle. This is also eating out. As you can see, that is a bean burger with some beetroot chutney and like half avo and a sesame bun. Really delicious. So showing you all these, all the variety of foods that I am lucky enough to enjoy. There are still aspects of my health that I'm busy working on, and I have by no means arrived. I can just imagine, those ones that were rolling their eyes at the beginning are probably saying, oh, well, I'm sure not everybody notices a change. So what about those that don't notice any change on a vegan diet? This is Nicholas. Nicholas has always been active, and he has taken part in many Ironman events, cycling tours, and has run 8 Comrades marathons to date. For those of you who aren't sure, Comrades is between 87 and 89 kilometers, I think, to run. That's quite far. He's a long-time vegetarian, and he has recently adopted a vegan lifestyle. He said that he didn't notice any change being on a vegan diet. So I asked him, then why are you still a vegan? If you don't see any difference, why do you carry on with it? And this is what he had to say. It's about the bigger picture and the longevity that it offers. It's a healthier lifestyle, and statistics prove it. He also said that God wants us to be healthy for our brains to function better. As you can see, everyone's experience is different, and there's no cut and dried recipe that works for everyone. It's something that's personal and that each person needs to discover by themselves. It requires a stage of experimenting. And I've noticed that I'm unable to eat certain foods that Tapa, he has no problem with. So you really do have to find what works for you. The reasons I'm sharing these testimonies with you is not to make you feel bad, but to give you hope that you can still improve your lifestyle, no matter what age, gender, race, whatever. It doesn't matter. You can still improve it. I know that I have given you testimonies from a young generation, but I found that the younger generation is a more enlightened generation when it comes to, health. Unlike 60 years ago, when you have doctors who are promoting smoking for various ailments and also recommending cigarettes for better pregnancy. A key point that I would like to highlight when it comes to lifestyle adjustment is that it requires patience and perseverance. I was first introduced to a plant-based lifestyle in 2009, and I have been on and off since then because it was just too inconvenient, too restrictive, too hard, too expensive, too this, too that. Trust me, I wore out all of the excuses until I decided that nothing was going to change unless I did. I've been on a plant-based diet for roughly 1.5 years, but I'm constantly making improvements. I won't stand here and say that it's always been easy. It definitely hasn't. There have been times where I've cried my eyes out with frustration. I've argued with God. I've begged Him. And then I'm always reminded that I need to exercise Christian virtues. Some powerful reminders and words of encouragement can be found in the Bible. Romans 12 verse 12 says, "Be joyful in hope, patient in affliction, faithful in prayer." Galatians 6 verse 9 tells us, "Let us not become weary in doing good, for that at the proper time we will reap a harvest if we do not give up." This verse is especially appropriate because the benefits you can reap of a healthy lifestyle can be great if we don't give up. The Lord is gathering up an army for His good work. Let's make sure that we are in the best shape ever. I encourage you to join God's boot camp of healthy eating and healthy living.